to the show. I'm Jessica Shaw.
I'm Touré.
And this is Bingeworthy.
We tell you what to binge
and what to delete.
This week, Game of Thrones.
Keegan-Michael Key's new sitcom, Friends from College.
The second season of Insecure and the docuseries, The Defiant Ones.
Cheers to winter coming and ending this heat wave.
Interesting, I see what you did there. And thanks to our host Vinyl in New York City. All right, Jess, let's talk TV.
Well, Game of Thrones, the massively popular fantasy drama, just returned for a 7th season. Winter is finally here. It airs Sundays at 9 on HBO.
For centuries, our families fought together against their common enemy. Despite their differences, together. We need to do the same if we're going to survive. Because the enemy is real. It's always been real.
I was so excited for the first episode. Usually it airs in spring. We had to wait till summer this year.
Oh my God.
We had to wait until summer for winter. But there was payoff. I mean, we got to see the Hound. We got to see Cersei. And of course, the episode ends with Daenerys. Just a very beautiful, in many ways, wordless. She returns to her homeland. We get to see her dragons flying. And, she's kind of like, let's get this party started.
Indeed. So look, all cards on the table. I am not historically a Game of Thrones watcher. Okay, you can have your shock. Let's move on.
Send your dragons his way.
Nothing against the show. I just never got into it. So this is the first time that I really sat down and watched Game of Thrones. I will go back and watch the other seasons. Calm down. I don't need my Twitter blown up over this. But, as a first-time watcher, if that can be imagined, I could feel this great power coming from a lot of these characters and these scenarios. Just Dany floating in with the dragons overhead and walking overhead and touching the sand. She had such great power that she just resonates. I'm like, I will be your serf, my lady, and Arya, right? It's just like, oh my God, I can't believe you're so powerful. I root for you. I mean, there's so much power rested in so many women. They're all afraid of Cersei, of all people.
Yes.
So it's exciting to see this world. I mean, the characters resonate without even knowing the backstory, right? Now, once you start to learn it, as you're teaching me and others, it's like, wow, this world is so amazing.
I made you a giant flow chart.
Yeah, you did? Yeah, I appreciate that. But no, I mean, this world is amazing.
Yeah, I love it. It's so interesting to tune in with season 7 and to think that the women are so strong, because it's a really good point. They are now in season 7, but when you look back, Cersei, I mean, she had a rough go the last 2 seasons. Arya Stark, really rough go.
Okay, no
Sansa
spoilers.
Stark,
Don't ruin it for me.
Not going to say anything. Shame. Shame. That's going to take on a whole new meaning when you binge watch the show. It is, and even Daenerys has been through, her own real trials and tribulations. And I love that when you come to it, that you're like, yes, these women are so strong. And I do feel like going into, this is the penultimate season. We've got a shortish season this season. Then we have season 8, and then it's done. It does make you wonder, is it going to be a woman sitting on the Iron Throne at the end?
Maybe. I mean, it is thrilling to see these different groups sort of positioning themselves and getting ready for war. It is fascinating. I mean, there is no show on television today that is discussed more than Game of Thrones.
Right.
And I mean, outside of Game of Thrones communities, you'll see the New York Times op-ed section, somebody is behaving like Cersei, or this is like Game of Thrones, or what have you. And I mean, it becomes part of the culture anyway, so you kind of feel like you're in it, some of these characters. But what they actually put on the screen is like a movie.
Oh, yeah, their
week.
budget's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed Sheeran. Did his presence on the show take you out of it to the point where you're like, what's Ed Sheeran doing on Game of Thrones?
100%. I mean, not knowing the cast, I was like, wow, that guy looks a lot like Ed Sheeran. You're like, no, that actually was Ed Sheeran. I'm like, oh, yeah, that distracted me a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you want to be drawn into this fantasy world and not have anything peeking out.
Right.
And Ed in particular was in a mic boom in the shot when it's supposed to be a fantasy scene.
I know, and it's so cute because like the showrunners they gave an interview and they were like, you know what, Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark, she loves Ed Sheeran so much, and they wanted to do this for her. They wanted to have this moment where like Ed Sheeran, who she's like obsessed with, shows up and he like sings this song and he's kind of, you know, almost serenading her at times, just as a gift to her because she's such a great actress. And I knew he was going to be on this season. I didn't know he'd be on in the first episode so early in the episode. And I was watching it and I was like, you know what? Like, he can stick to singing. Like, 2 lines was like 1.5 too many. And I love him as a singer. I love Game of Thrones. I loved having them all back together. I like how these characters who've been kept apart for 6 seasons are all starting to come together. Cersei she's got like her map. She's ready to wage battle. Dany is ready. She's home. Like, we're just poised for a great season of action. I am totally binging this show. I could do with a little less poop and soup, but I am binging all the way. How about you?
I liked the texture of the poop and soup moment, but we can agree to disagree.
A lot of texture.
No, I loved this. It's an extraordinary world. I can't wait to go back from season 1 and figure out fully what's going on as best I can and stay with it through season 7, because you know that season 8, the end, is coming. Then it is actually a perfect time to binge it all now and get ready for what will be a major cultural phenomenon in the final season.
I agree. It's actually a really good binge show because it's so dense.
Yeah. Coming up next, Friends from College.
And season 2 of Insecure.
Welcome back, I'm Touré.
I'm Jessica Shaw.
And this is Bingeworthy.
We tell you what to binge.
And what to delete. And Keegan-Michael Key's got a new sitcom called Friends from College on Netflix about a married guy who's still sleeping with his girlfriend from college, even though she's also married and friends with his wife. Oh, what a tangled comedic web. Friends from College is on Netflix now.
I love my life. I just wonder what would happen if it was blown to smithereens and I got to start all over again.
So it has nothing to do with your affair?
It's a stupid college hookup. It never ended. Why do you insist on calling it an affair?
Because you guys are married to other people and having sex with each other?
This part is gonna be all. Oh, God, my God.
I love this show. It is funny. It is smart. I love the tension of like all these people know each other and they're sort of sneaking around right behind each other's backs or under each other's noses. And I love Keegan-Michael Key. I love the 2 women that he's with. This is fun. And I can see in your face you don't like it, and I don't even know why.
I can't believe you like
I
this show.
watched like 9 episodes of this. I love this.
First of all, I feel like I am predisposed to hate the show because it has the word friends in the title. And you know how I feel about the sitcom Friends. But I was willing to give it a chance. I was willing to give it a chance.
No relationship to Friends, but
I know,
okay.
there's no like Marcel the monkey. I can't.
Who are you
but
right now?
to me, I was like, this cast is amazing.
Yeah.
I love Keegan-Michael Key, Kobe Smulders, Billy Eichner's in it. I was
Yes.
so excited for this show. To me, this is my new numero uno example of great cast, bad show.
What are you talking about?
They're so unlikable. Like, I'm like, okay, you're sleeping with your
these
college
people?
friend. You're talking about, oh, you went to Harvard. Like,
See,
you're insufferable.
Well, yes, they were at Harvard. What do you want from them? You know, a lot of people actually go to college at
Okay,
Harvard.
you got waitlisted, okay?
How should they speak about where they went to college? I mean, when they say Cambridge, then it's really like obnoxious. Like, just say
the
freaking Harvard.
worst.
But no, I mean, part of the
Haven,
problem of the show for me is that I like his wife and I like his affair partners.
Right.
And usually they will shade it so that you're supposed to like this person and here's the unsympathetic person. I like both of them. So what am I supposed to do? Root for him to get both? Neither one? I like it all.
I just feel like I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, all right, like I'm into this. I like what's going on. And then it never moved anywhere.
What are
I
you
just
talking
hated
about?
all of these characters at a certain point. I was like, I need something more.
You gotta
I
get
need
to the
something
Seth,
better than this.
You gotta get to the Seth Rogen episode. Seth Rogen is crushing it as always, and I love this group.
I wanted this show to be like the TV version of St. Elmo's Fire. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Like
okay.
I love the concept is A+.
Yeah.
It's like, a group of friends, and you know, like you have your friends from college.
But they're
and
a generation older than St. Elmo's Fire, right? And that matters, right?
Yes.
St. Elmo's Fire, they're in their mid-20s, right? So
Yes.
they're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
These people are in their mid-30s, right? And or maybe even a little older.
Right.
So I mean, like, it's more toward 30-something without the drama and the melancholy and just the fun.
I know.
and
I
the
just like I
weirdness.
couldn't. There were characters that I liked, but I couldn't invest in the whole show. It didn't seem, at least in the first 3, and I gave up after the first 3, like full disclosure. But it did. I just wanted it to progress beyond like I'm cheating on my wife, like can't stop having sex with my college girlfriend. It just felt a little bit like one note and a little sort of sad sack.
I don't know. I mean, that presented new challenges as we went along. You know, I mean, sure, you could watch it out of order, right? It's not like some narrative plot that you must follow along, like Game of Thrones. But I found it fun and electric and exciting and interesting, and I watched every episode they sent.
I just felt like Billy Eichner. You know how he's in it and he's like, "Oh, you guys,
He's over it.
go to bed." He is
He's
so
fun
over.
within that role.
He's so over every single person in that show. And there were times when I was like, I got you. Like I feel the same way. Totally like, go to bed, guys.
I
You're
found
not
this-
as cute or compelling as you think you are.
I found this so much fun. I binged all the episodes they sent. I will watch all the rest of them. I'm all in with friends from college.
Yeah, sorry to say, I'm deleting this show. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. Issa Rae's hit relationship comedy Insecure returns for a second season on HBO Sunday, July 23rd at 10:30 p.m.
Remember these? Oh, this? It's just a party. My life.
Are you originally from here?
Yeah.
You live near here?
Yep.
So where you from?
Honestly, it doesn't matter what I say, because this isn't going anywhere. That's how I feel.
How are you still single? Oh my God.
I love this show.
Yes.
Every woman needs to watch this show. Like
Yes.
that feeling of like, oh, you messed up your last relationship, and like, oh, that angst about it, and like kind of just creating a sort of casual party so that like your man's gonna come over and just happen to show up to get his mail. Her friendship with her best
girl.
friend is just
Really good.
I just adore the show. This is when this came out. You and I talked about Insecure season 1. We loved it then.
Yep.
I've seen the first few of this season. I only love it more. I'm so invested in this character, and I think she's such a smart performer. One of the things I love that she does, there's always like, you know, we're off in that moment where she's kind of looking in the mirror and whatever she's doing, whether it's choosing an outfit or dancing or rapping or whatever it is. And it creates this really intimate relationship with viewers, I think. Because I'm watching it and I'm like, in some ways you feel like you're the mirror and you're like, you feel so connected to her as a performer. And I think it comes from the fact that she's not, you know, kind of an actress who kind of came up doing a million different sitcoms.
Right.
She is a performer. And I love that connection that you feel with her on the show. I adore her. To me, this was...
The mirror moments are fantastic and interesting in the confessional television era when so many people look directly into the camera. She's like, no, I'm going to look into the camera in a different way, which is so connecting to the audience. But yeah, I love this show. I'm so proud of Issa Rae for what she's done here. This season, as a creator, I feel like she is stronger, she's sharper, she's better aware of how to deal with these pieces. Like, I've played this game before. I really know how to freak it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's interesting because in the first season it felt like Issa's character had the power, right? And Lawrence did not, and he sort of was like, you know, beneath her in a way. This season, she's kind of like, where can I find some sex? Like, where can I get my boyfriend back? And he is out hoeing. He is handling this town. It was like the world is just coming to him like, you are sexy, you are chocolate, I want to get with you. He goes to the
It's always the
supermarket
way.
and 2 women throw themselves at him. And I'm like, Lawrence is out here doing his thing. I'm like, wow.
I love that you're rooting for Lawrence. That is
Hell
not who you
yeah.
root for on the show.
Hell
that is not
yeah.
who you root for.
No, I mean, like, he got beat down the first season. And to see him really, like, rise up this season and do his thing, and, like, you can't say, you know, he's foul this season, right? He is single. And I love the character. I love the actor. I love what Issa's doing in terms of the writing. She has a style, but she's also developing, right, her own voice. So she stays within her lane of her style, but she's developing and growing.
And I also love that it is this like kind of rom-com type show, but she also has these little nods to social commentary that I think are so. There's a moment, I think it's in the first or second episode, where she has this colleague where she's working with who says something, this sort of well-intentioned casual racism comment, and it's just, and Issa Rae is such a talented writer and performer that it's not shown on the show and then delved into.
Right.
It's allowed to sit out there, and you either notice it or you don't, you know. And I think that she has these moments of, she's such an astute commentator of social culture, whether it's like between men and women or dating or, you know, what it's like to be a black woman or whatever it is. And I think she's so talented. To me, of all the snubs at the end with the Emmy nominations that happened, this was one that really stood out to me. That she wasn't nominated and that the show wasn't nominated.
I mean, you know, it should get that sort of attention. I suspect it will in the future. I just see Issa Rae as such an extraordinary voice, an extraordinary creator, an actor, and a writer. I can only imagine what she will create in the future after she's done with this show and then create a movie or more. I mean, like, she's just so extraordinarily talented. And, you know, you think about people trying to be the voice of the generation, and she is, like, in that sort of territory of, like, I can make the art that expresses, like, this is what my generation is about, because she's that good.
I agree, and I think, like, when you're talking about a Sunday night on HBO show, it's tough because you're on after Game of Thrones and it's like everyone's talking about this one show, and here this is a much more intimate show.
Yep.
And sometimes I worry that it's getting lost on that night of TV, and I want everyone to watch the show because it's so good.
I do like it being on Sunday night because, of course, Sunday night is the epic night for HBO, when it was always The Wire, The Sopranos, you know, all their great shows. Game of Thrones are Sunday night, Sex and the City, of course. So I like it being there. This is, you know, one of HBO's premier shows right now. There's not too many shows that are created by black women, right? There's at today's television, ever television. There's Oprah stuff. There's Shondaland. There's not too much beyond that.
Ava DuVernay.
Right. But I mean, like, to see Issa just doing so well in such a premier network is just so heartwarming.
Agreed.
So
I'm just
for her.
Binging this show like crazy. It's so good. I love it so much.
I mean, I watched the 4 episodes they said right away, and we'll watch the rest right away. And I do watch this in real time.
Yeah.
Don't even have time to binge because I just watch it as soon as it comes out.
Coming up, we're going to look at HBO's The Defiant Ones.
And we'll announce the performance of the week.
Welcome back. I'm Jessica Shaw.
I'm Touré.
And this is Bingeworthy.
We tell you what to binge.
And what to delete.
And don't delete The Defiant Ones, the story of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, 2 record producers who became label heads and billionaires selling music from superstars like Snoop Dogg and Stevie Nicks and many, many, many more. The doc series airs Thursdays at 10:05 on HBO.
Take 2? What do you mean take 2?
February, Stevie Nicks.
This is a whole, like, art to this.
Do you want me to scoot this way? Is that better
I
for the
put
light?
this in the movie, by the way. I put all this shit in the movie.
That's why I'm trying to tell them to go.
Oh, geez.
When's this coming out?
Say again?
When's this gonna be out?
It should be out next year.
Describe that relationship, Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
Okay, cool. We're talking about Jimmy and Dr. Dre.
It's a very exciting look at these guys' rise from, you know, nothing. Both of them came from nothing, had to claw their way through the record business, you know, working with, there's so many great moments in this when, you know, here's our home footage of Dr. Dre in the studio, or Stevie Nicks in the studio, or Tom Petty in the studio, and the process that Dre is using. I love seeing that stuff.
I mean, you mentioned the footage. The footage is insane.
Yeah.
Alan Hughes I don't know, how did he get his hands on all of that? I mean,
Well,
there's stuff about like Bruce Springsteen.
Well, I mean, in a way, this is an infomercial, right, for Interscope and their music.
Yes, but they have footage of everything.
Yeah,
and
because
I
Jimmy and Dre
loved
gave it to him. I mean, I mean, I love the footage of the parties at Dre's house and the
Yes.
football game at Jimmy's house, and I'm sure he makes sure to give them the footage when he
When
catches
he wins,
the
when he
bomb
catches
and
the
gets
bomb.
the touchdown.
That was amazing.
Okay,
I
Jimmy.
know.
Yeah.
But there were so many little moments. I mean, I felt like, I knew a little bit about Jimmy Iovine and I knew like a little bit about Dr. Dre, but I had no idea. Some of those tiny moments of like, when Jimmy's working with Tom Petty on his album, and he meets Stevie Nicks, and she like moves in with him after just a few days, and then he somehow figures out a way to get the two of them to record a song together. So he puts stuff together, and
But
then
just the whole thing of when Tom Petty walks in and he's like, I thought you were the engineer. No,
Yeah.
I'm the producer. Like you just chat
Yes.
your way up to being a producer.
Yeah, it's like you watch brilliance happening, and you see that with Dr. Dre. I love these moments when Dr. Dre's talking about just being like a little kid, and he starts making mixtapes,
Yes.
and they literally show these mixtapes that he probably had in like his mom's attic or something, and then he's going and he's like selling these mixtapes to kids in the neighborhood and whatever. And there was just it was so fascinating. It's like, and they both are geniuses.
Yeah.
And in some ways they talk about how they're both kind of madmen, and their wives are just like, sometimes you just have to like let them do their thing. You get to see the origins of brilliance. And there's something very, like, I love the interviews with Dr. Dre's mother. I love the interviews with Jimmy's first wife.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating. You see what they went through to get to the point where they became billionaires.
And all these great characters along the way. The moment when Eminem is like, so, when I first met Dr. Dre, I'm pissing myself now, remembering those moments. And, and then you get Dr. Dre hanging out on the Amalfi Coast on his yacht. And, I mean, there's so much great stuff here. They both have had these incredible runs through major American music historical moments, and you see in Jimmy why some parts of the record business used to work and why some have not, when he's like, get your stars and let them do what they want to do. Don't get in their way. When Trent Reznor says, I want you to give me my advance and get out of my way.
Yeah.
And
or
it's
when
like,
he goes up to Gwen Stefani and says, you're going to be a huge star in 6 years. And she's like, what
Why
are you talking
6?
about? And
Because
sure
you
enough.
need to grow up a little bit more. I mean, like, that he's giving people the freedom to grow up, to make their record. That's when the record business really works, right? When you have somebody saying, you need to get in your single by this date so you can make the first quarter release or whatever, like, no, that's not gonna work for truly creative people. And you see Jimmy and Dre's brilliance in working with truly creative people.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so much fun.
It is. There's tons of details in it, and like though the Beats deal with Apple was a huge financial deal, I think the 3 episodes leading up to it, for me, I love those episodes more, which shows their creative successes. I loved it. I couldn't get enough. I wish this was like 8 episodes.
No, I could watch more. I mean, I do understand the self-mythologizing that's happening here, and they're trying to make us think that they are greater than they actually are, and this is going to raise the value of the catalog for all these artists that much more. But
you're a cynic.
Well, I'm a cynic, but I mean, I do understand. As I said, this is an infomercial, right? In a way, right? This is them telling us their story, right? So I mean, like, thankfully they allow some moments that are embarrassing to get in the telling, and perhaps because they couldn't not do that. But, this is them telling their story about themselves. It is a very exciting thing. I have watched it and rewatched it because it is kind of thrilling. So this is definitely binge material.
Absolutely. I've been telling everyone to binge this. I'm binging this all the way.
Oh, hell yeah.
Performance of the week goes to comedian Andrea Savage on her new show, I'm Sorry, on True TV. I love this show. When it started, I was like, yes, here's this. I feel like women in comedies, sometimes like women have to be a certain way. They have to either be like, the really uptight wife kind of thing, like on Modern Family, or they're just kind of, okay, stop with your Modern Family love. Or, they're just another kind of woman, like on Girls, or, their life is a total disaster. Andrea Savage has carved out a unique space for herself on this show, I'm Sorry, where she's this happily married woman, and she's kind of going through life sort of unapologetic, even though she's kind of pissing a lot of people off. I think she's super funny.
Great.
I think a lot of people are gonna think, wait, isn't this the same show as Better Things, the Pamela Adlon show of FX, which is one of my favorite shows ever.
Right.
they are different enough. Like, I don't want people to say, I'm not watching I'm Sorry because I'm watching better things. I think Andrea Savage turns in a great performance. We've seen so many comedians get their own shows. Can they act as well as come up with a great concept? She totally does. I love this show.
All right. In honor of the recently announced Emmy nominations, we're giving our picks for who should win Best Comedy and Best Drama TV shows. This is who should win, not our predictions of who will win.
That's right.
Best Comedy nominees are Atlanta, Blackish, Master of None, Modern Family. Hear that, Jess? Modern Family.
Stop.
Silicon Valley, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and Veep. Who should win?
I think Veep should win. I love this show so much. This is the season this show should have failed. They lose Armando Iannucci. They get a new showrunner in David Mandel. Selena Meyer she's not the vice president. She's not even the president. She's out of office.
Right.
This is the time for the show to fail. Instead, they turn in one of their best seasons. I adore this show. There are a lot of great shows on this list, but I just think Veep consistently one of the funniest shows on TV.
I appreciate your rich get richer vibe there with Veep, but no, Atlanta should win. We should elevate the great new shows that are coming out, and Atlanta is extraordinary. It's smart, it's mature, it's a really fascinating and funny and smart look at what's going on in these three guys' lives. I could not love the show more. I know you love it too.
I love it too.
I mean, a lot of people love this show, and I would love to see them honor and respect and raise up a new creator in Donald Glover rather than give yet another award to Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
How many? She has like 8 billion Emmys, but I can't ever say she doesn't deserve them.
But I know, but now they're doorstops in her house. It doesn't do anything for her, for television, for anybody to yet again say, Julia, you are amazing again. But to tell people...
She gets great acceptance speech.
I know, but to tell people, you gotta watch Donald Glover, not just for black people, but everybody. You gotta watch this show and what he's doing. That would matter I think, for television in general.
I will not be sad if it goes to Atlanta. I think it's a great show, and that would not be bad. Over on the drama side, the best drama nominees are Better Call Saul, The Crown, Handmaid's Tale, House of Cards, Stranger Things, This Is Us, Cheers, and Westworld.
Lots of great shows on that list, but one stands out far and above for me. Handmaid's Tale is extraordinary. It is must-watch television. It is powerful. It is searing. It is heartbreaking. It is great storytelling. I mean, yes, this should win absolutely, especially in the age of Trump.
I mean, absolutely. Could not agree more. Handmaid's Tale is not just the best show on that list. To me, and I know you agree with this, I think it's the best show of the year.
Yeah.
It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I think Elizabeth Moss leads this cast, and thankfully she's nominated a bunch, along with a bunch of other actors from the show. It is a harrowing show. I can't wait for season 2, even though I ended every episode with like a panic attack and with like, in a cold sweat.
Right.
But it's a brilliant show.
No, this is halfway through the year. This is the best show of the year for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching our show.
And thanks again to Vinyl in New York City. I'm Jessica Shaw.
I'm Touré, and this has been Bingeworthy.
Cheers to summer premieres.